Welcome to the Exposer. Today we'll be exposing Spac Nation pastor Lennox Atto. Lennox is a normal, friendly guy. He joined Spac Nation a few years ago. He's a guy who is very, very easily influenced. So I will call him one of the slaves of Pastor Toby. Not just Pastor Toby, he's one of the slaves of all the major pastors of Spac Nation. Because he's a guy that has no pride. He's a guy who just does what he's told. He's a guy who Spac Nation have manipulated to a point where this guy has left and abandoned his family because of Spac Nation. He says his family kicked him out because of Spac Nation. But the story is deeper than that. His family was aware of what was going on at Spac Nation. His family knew Spac was changing him. And Spac was turning him to a person who Venova never raised. This is the reason why his family refused to accept that he goes to the church. He never got kicked out of his house just randomly. It was over a period of time. His parents knew that this guy was changing and he was getting worse and worse. So it got to a point where they warned him and warned him and warned him. But he wouldn't listen. They knew exactly what was going on at Spac Nation. Because Lennox, who is their child, was changing. So they knew that Spac Nation had a strong hold on people. They knew that it was a spiritual thing. This is why his family just could not accept it. So after joining Spac Nation, Lennox quickly developed friendship with a lot of people at Spac. The top pastors knew that. He was a guy that was easily influenced. So it didn't take long for them to get to Lennox. So they managed to get a loan out of Lennox. And while he done that, he thought it was for the better. Before they got him to take out loans, one of the pastors will take him shopping, take him to eat, just develop a relationship with him. Make him feel like he's more wanted at Spac Nation than his parents want him. So in that picture on the right, you can see Pastor Nikki. She was very influential in manipulating Lennox. Because like I said, Pastor Nikki was generally a kind person, but Spac Nation turned her into an evil woman. So she would take out Lennox, buy him food, just treat him, just play the role of a big sister or of a mother. This is what she would do with him, along with other pastors too. So when Lennox got comfortable and he understood what Spac Nation was doing, he wanted a part in it. He really wanted to impress, because he felt like Spac Nation was a family that he never had. Spac Nation found a way to convince him that they're more important than his family. And this worked. So they came up with the idea and told Lennox they're going to help him. They're going to start a business for him. Lennox was very excited. They would give him gifts so that he would trust them. So that he thought these guys are really kind and these guys are actually legit because they're giving me stuff. So after a period of time, while Lennox started to give, the pastors at Spac Nation now knew it was a time to make the move for the loan. So they told Lennox to take out a loan to give seed, because it's really important and that's what all the pastors at Spac Nation do. Lennox did not take twice to think. He took out a loan and gave. He was ordained as a minister not long after. So the more Lennox was giving, the more friendly the pastors were with him. They kept manipulating him to a point where they knew in the long term they could influence him to bring more money to the church. They knew Lennox would operate like one of the slaves at Spac Nation. Because you guys need to understand, people like Lennox are very important to Spac Nation. They're pastors at Spac Nation that nobody really cares about. They're pastors at Spac Nation that nobody respects. But they're the ones that go out their way Monday to Sunday to bring young people into Spac Nations for them to get scammed. People like Lennox are the reason for that. So they're like the pastors that nobody cares about. But they do the most work in terms of bringing souls to Spac Nation. So Lennox took out the loan and he understood there's a way of making money from the loans. So Lennox from Monday to Sunday was evangelizing. He was going to every single area in London to try to convince young people to come to Spac Nation. He will tell them every single thing they want to hear. If the young man said he wanted to play football, Lennox will say we have an academy at Spac Nation. We have a guy with connections. If a young guy wanted to become a doctor, Lennox will say we have someone at Spac Nation who is a doctor, and I can help you and be a mentor to you. This is what Lennox will go. So Lennox's techniques would be, he would invite these kids to Nando's to eat, and after that, exchange numbers with the youngsters, so the youngsters will get comfortable with Lennox and they would come to Spac Nation. He would speak to hundreds of kids. He was evangelizing from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then he'll go back out again. This guy was not sleeping. That was his job. And this is the job they make you do when you're not an important pastor at Spac Nation. Over a period of time, Lennox was ordained as a pastor. That's because Lennox did everything he was told to do. Lennox gave everything he had. Because he lived in one of the trap houses, he didn't have to pay for rent. So whatever he made, 90% would go to Spac Nation. Because he's one of the pastors that's brainwashed. He really believes that Spac Nation will help him become a multi-millionaire one day. He really believes this is just the start. Because Pastor Toby tells them it's not about now, it's about the end. So he's one of the fools at Spac Nation that believes what he's told. So what Lennox did, Lennox will go places where a lot of kids will go to hang around after school. Like, not long ago, him, along with other pastors, went outside Brixton Station and invited a bunch of young kids to come to Creams so they can buy them free waffles and free ice creams. This is the techniques that Lennox, along with a few other pastors, use. They would sometimes drive to a school and wait outside the school. And when the kids would come out, they would invite them to go and eat Nando's or take them to Creams. That is what Lennox does all the time till today. The other technique that Lennox uses with adults is that, of course, Spac Nation have opened a company online for him. Again, this company is active, but this company does not really exist. It's just online for Lennox to fool people, where he would ask you to take out a loan and invest a huge sum amount of money, and you will have something in return every month. So say you borrowed him 10k, he will tell you he will pay you back £500 or maybe £250 every month for the next 2 to 3 years. Basically a loan system. But he will make them believe they're investing for a real share of a company. So the company that he owns, well, the company that is active online that Lennox runs is called the Area Group Limited. And that was opened on the 10th of July 2018. So this is what Lennox uses to fool adults or people who he believes have money, or people who he believes he can influence to take out loans. So this is what Lennox does full time. Like I repeated, people like Lennox are very important to Spac Nation because although they're not respected, they're the type of pastors that would do everything, that would die for Spac Nation. So Lennox is one of the guys, like I said, at Spac Nation that again has been manipulated and fooled and deceived, and he has become a fool himself. This is a guy who had a good family and turned on them because of Spac Nation. Because this is what Spac Nation do. You're either with them or against them. So Lennox is a victim of Spac Nation. They've used him and they continue to use him. And they've turned him into someone who's also using the young people in the black community. This guy is a predator. This guy could be going to your brother or your sister's school to lie and manipulate them. So people like Lennox have to be exposed. They have to be exposed. There's more things about Lennox, like he also lies to young kids, tells them he can help them trade. He lies. This is a system that 99% of the pastors at Spac Nation use. But it's very important to know what each person has done. This is why they will all be exposed. So this is the exposing of Lennox.